Living by the word radio.
Broadcasting faith, truth, and inspiration throughout the Caribbean and beyond. Faith, truth, inspiration.
You're listening and viewing Living by the Word Radio.
Living by the Word Radio.
Where faith comes alive.
Gathered in His name, the world is all the same.
Good night. Welcome to another Level Up Your Marriage. We'll be on the platform again tonight to share with you on different topics of marriage and relationship, and especially in Christian marriages. Welcome, Raquel.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good to be here one more time.
Yes, and wherever you're joining from, we invite you into the conversation. And remember that you can always send in your questions or comment in the chat, and we will respond accordingly. Sorry, fellow psychologist and Christian counseling psychologist Andre Allen Casey, and we enjoyed it so much that we want to invite him back tonight to continue that conversation that we were having. And Andre, I want to tell you that that conversation had very good feedback. Also, a number of views on YouTube. So it was indeed an interesting conversation, and we are happy to have you tonight again to continue this conversation.
And our topic, navigating husband's mental health.
Yes, navigating husband's mental health.
Yes, so welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, Andre.
And affable Andre Allen Casey. Yes. Married in his 30th year of marriage, and counseling psychologist for over 15 years. And we welcome you to the conversation. And Paul does a very good job of helping us to recap. So what were some of the things we spoke about last week?
Yes, so navigating men's mental health, and we know that June is designated as Mental Health Month, and so we did several discussions on mental health, and in this one it was navigating husbands' mental health, and Andre shared some nuggets with us in the conversation. We looked at pursuing change. Don't just wait for it to happen. And that tells us that we must be intentional about what we are doing. And that was indeed an interesting discussion. We looked at healthy and unhealthy distractions and how they can either keep us back or push us forward. And the exercise and the prayer and the reading and the spending time with family and all of that, and some of the things that also cause us distractions. And all of this really comes back to us being intentional about what we do. Don't ruminate on your pain and hurt. The fact that many men continue to replay failures and betrayals and all of that and disappointments. And we know that when we dwell on these things, they don't really help us. And so, in this discussion, it's all about changing. When we're talking about navigating mental health, is actually to change, doing the things that will help us, or things that will catapult us into becoming who we were called to be. Don't live in the past was another one. And the fact that the past can teach us, but it should not imprison us. And I really found that to be interesting, that the past can teach us, but it should not imprison us. And the truth is that many of us are still imprisoned by our past failures, our past mistakes, our past disappointments. But Andre said that we ought not to be chained by our past. We must be people who are moving on. And that leads us to the discussion tonight, Andre. Right? We pick up this evening at this don't expect more than you
Sir.
deserve. And the whole idea of entitlement and our expectations, whether or not our expectations are realistic or unrealistic. And sometimes, as men, we have in our minds an entire civilization that we have planned out, and oftentimes it doesn't end up the way that it is in our minds, and we end up feeling very disappointment, and
Pointed.
oftentimes become even destructive in how we navigate life. So don't expect more than you deserve. Andre, expand on this for us now.
Alrighty. I mean, for me, our mental health definitely will be negatively impacted, or it will be affected, because, and you mentioned the word earlier, because we feel entitled. And the entitlement can even show up in how we want to be addressed by others. So, for example, so
True.
so 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 we might say, "Don't talk to me like that." No, no. Oftentimes we might use that statement, "Don't talk to me like that." And I'm not saying it is wrong to to correct someone in the way they address you.
Yeah,
But suppose they don't choose to be corrected, what's going to
well,
happen
true.
to your own
Ego.
emotional equilibrium? So are you going to be, you know, are,
Disturbed.
are you going to be disturbed? I guess I'm just saying there are some things that are outside of your control, and that might be one of those things. Might be. So,
Yeah.
so there are times in which possibly we can say it, and there and maybe someone will concur, and therefore choose on how they speak to us. But also on the other hand, someone might says, "No, why you think I spoke to you that way in the first place?" Because for whatever reason, I may not have the kind of respect for you, or maybe at this point in time I'm angry with you. And so, but what is going to happen to you? I guess that's what I'm saying. Since we're talking about, you know, our own mentality and mental equilibrium, if I can use that term. Since we're talking about that, even as men, especially in our Jamaican culture, you mustn't disrespect me.
Yeah.
Don't disrespect me. And I feel disrespected. And because I am disrespected, then look at what it's going to pull out of me. Look at how I'm going to behave. Look at how I'm not only going to be so disturbed. Look at how it's going to interfere with how I interact with you going forward.
Yes. True.
Whether or not
True.
I'm going to eat, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to be angry, I'm going to tell everybody how you disrespect me. I am just saying here, don't expect more than you deserve, because if you might think that you deserve wonderful things, and that's great. But I'm also saying that suppose you get what you don't deserve, what are you going to do?
Yeah. True.
Is it going to put you into a place where you cannot function? And so I'm just kind of saying here, look here, since I can't force you to love me, I can't force you to talk to me about it, I can't force you to treat me in a kind way. Since I can't do it, then I know what I'm going to do. The Bible
So to
reminds
you,
us, the Bible
yeah,
reminds us, you see, that we
yeah,
must do good to those who despitefully use us and persecute us
yes,
and say
yes,
all manner of evil against us.
yeah.
No, 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 no. I'm going to say something. I'm going to get myself in problem with this one. No, that is our entitlement. We must be entitled, and I know I'm using the word wrong. we must entitle ourselves then to still do the right thing in spite of and not because of.
Yes, yes,
That's what I
that's
think.
and yeah, I like that because you know, in looking at that, I am thinking, Andre, that as an example, I may think that I deserve respect from others, and that that respect that I think that I deserve from others, if somebody doesn't give me, as a matter of fact, I shouldn't even expect anybody to. I may expect somebody to have respect for me, but what if the other person just doesn't have the respect for me? Um, because they don't have respect for me, is it not going to cause my whole world to crumble around me? Right? Is my ego, is it going to be deflated because I have not gotten the respect that I think I deserve? And so I really appreciate that point that you made, that as a matter of fact, a part of navigating our mental health means that we must be comfortable with self.
That's right.
You have to be, because again, you will not always get what you think you deserve.
That's right. That's right. That is the point. I think that's the primary point there. That if you don't reach a place where you recognize that I may not get what I deserve, what I think I should get, um, um, notwithstanding, am I prepared to be an example of doing the right thing?
Yeah, true, true, true,
That
true.
is what I think must continue to be at the forefront of our minds and thinking, rather than being upset that I never get what I deserve.
Yes, true.
So
Yeah.
may I jump in here? So excellent points. They're very useful, and about that we should be comfortable with ourselves, so we can definitely, even in spite of how we are treated, how men are treated or how husbands are treated. Let us put it in the context now, as it relates to a husband and wife. Let's say the wife then doesn't treat the husband in the way that he expects or that he should be treated. How do we, using the same guidelines that you mentioned, how would you help the wife to navigate? How would you help the husband to navigate such a situation, or how would you help them in their in the conversation where the husband is saying, I should be respected, I should be spoken to with dignity and uh, all that we just spoke about, but he might not be getting that from his wife.
Well, my argument is, if you ask for it and you don't get it, then be the example of what you want to get from the other person.
But isn't that what the Bible instructs us to do, Andre?
Yeah, that's
That
what we quoted in Matthew chapter 5 too, That's the do good to those who
exactly,
do
because
despitefully use you and persecute you and say
yes,
all manner of evil. So we have been given a direct charge on what
yes.
must be our behavior, even if we don't get the good behavior.
Because one of the things that I would say on that particular point
Yes.
is that another person's behavior, my wife's behavior, does not change the responsibility that God has given me as a husband.
Correct.
So, and as a matter of fact, when you look at the passage in Ephesians, husbands, love your wives, as Christ loved the church, and then Paul repeats it in Colossians, and it seems to be this almost the same thing that he's saying in Colossians. But if you look at the Colossian passage, one of the ideas that it conveys is that even if your wife is behaving in an unloving way, it doesn't change your obligation to love her as Christ loved the church.
Correct.
Again, and that for me, you have to know who you are in Christ to have that kind of disposition and that kind of reaction to somebody who is not probably not even treating you well.
Okay. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So,
Definitely.
interesting conversation. Remember, if you are Anna and you have a question or comment, please feel free to type it in the chat, or and we will, um, respond. Brother, brother Dexter is asking to please share the program with someone tonight. There is someone out there that needs this content, and that is so true. So from don't don't expect more than you deserve. To the element now of closure. Closure is up to you, not the other person. And the fact that as men, again, as husbands, we remain kind of emotionally stuck, waiting for an apology, waiting for
An
an
explanation
explanation,
or recognition.
or even recognition. Um,
But I think it's a nice segue, based on what we just said, Andre, where if the husband, if the wife is not treating the husband with respect or fairly, or in a loving way, and it's easier said than done. So sometimes, as we know, then how does the husband move now from in that situation to thinking that he needs an apology, or that he should be given an apology or an explanation,
you know, continuous stew, man.
yeah, or you help him to unsteal one to get over this hurdle.
Because Andre, you know that sometimes as husbands we are good at stewing, and we can stew for days.
Definitely.
And this, I think this can be one of the most unhealthy habits in marriage, when the whole idea of stewing. And one of the things that even as counselors we will tell persons that we counsel is that this element of conflict and so forth and arguments is really a part of what the relationship is when as it grows. And if every time something happens that and you're going to spend a lot weeks and months stewing, then you have robbed yourself of some of the benefits of your relationship. So
Definitely.
this whole idea of being able to forgive, say some more on that for me.
Okay.
Closure,
Right.
up
Well,
to you, not the other person.
right. And so, for me, when we say closure is up to you, not the other person, I am suggesting that we be deliberate about finishing and don't wait to be completed.
Say that for the people in the back.
Let me say
Say
it
that
again.
again for the people in the back.
Be deliberate about finishing and don't wait to be completed. Right?
Yes.
And what do I mean by that? Meaning, the words "I am sorry," or even the kind of validation that we look for. So can you imagine? Both you and Raquel mentioned about the stewing thing. You see, that's the problem. You want the other person to validate your pain for you to get over it.
Yes. Yes.
And so you see, so therefore you are dependent on the other person to get closure. You're dependent on them to not only validate your pain, but even to say, I'm sorry, for you to get closure. If we understand and recognize that closure is up to me, then whether or not I get the validation, and that's what I mean by be deliberate about finishing and don't wait for to be completed. You don't wait for somebody to say, oh, she here. Sorry. Audience understand. Ush, you here, the term we use in Jamaica, we were trying to ush
Yes.
and pacify something or comfort someone,
And
you know.
comfort.
Right. But I'm just saying, suppose that's not forthcoming. If that is not forthcoming, then you're going to continue to be in a place of distress. And so what is happening to your own mental ability? It has been shattered. Why? Because you need to hear I am sorry or hush. And I'm not saying that we should not say I'm sorry. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying even if I'm sorry is not forthcoming, what can you do to be into a place of peace?
Yes. True.
What can,
True.
and that's why closure must be up to you and not the other person.
Yeah.
Person.
True.
Right?
True.
You have to be prepared to 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 do
To
better
take care of your own mental health.
and take care of your own mental health.
Yeah.
But
Be
I
better and
want
do
to
better.
ask you, Andre,
Say again?
why is it so hard for
Yeah.
men? Why is this so hard for men, for husbands, Because I find, and I don't know, you are a male counselor, so you can either back me up or tell me that I'm crazy. But I find that in counseling, especially men and in marital relationships, I find that the men are, boy, sometimes very unforgiving. It's hard. It's hard. I don't know if it's harder for males to move past some things, but even in situations, Andre, that are similar with wives and husbands, when you run afoul of your relationship, I find that wives are many times more easy to forgive their husbands, and if the husband does the same thing, um, no, the other way, his wife does the same thing that he does. It is so difficult for him to move past it, but yet in the same breath, he would want his wife to just forget about it.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I suspect, and I'm not saying I have the full answer either, but I suspect that, the ego is at play here in a big way. His pride. And so I need to continue to convey to the wife that I'm in charge,
Yes, yes.
and I have to ensure that this does not happen again, or here are the consequences should it happen again, and so I have to have a certain kind of disposition, mentality, behavior, and so how do I warn you not to make that mistake again? You have to look at how serious I am, and herein lies the consequences should you do it again. And so if I should just pat you on the shoulders and say, I forgive you, or because you say I'm sorry, I'm just going to move on, then chances are I don't want to make myself susceptible to this experience again. And nor do I want you to take light of it. You need to understand the gravity of the situation. So, therefore, I need to come down hard on you. Now, if the roles were reversed, you must not come down hard on me.
Yeah, yes, that's true. That's true. That's true.
So,
Yeah,
so that is where I'm suspecting. I'm not saying definitively it is so,
yeah.
but I
Yeah,
suspect
and
some of
I
those.
agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. If I was marking, I'd give you 85%. I agree. So healing begins when we stop waiting for someone else to complete our recovery. Closure is often a decision rather than an event. So and I think this is something that I have heard in many seminars, well, especially talking about forgiveness. That forgiveness really is for most times for me rather than the person who has affected me. Because in truth, do you realize that sometimes we want forgiveness from persons who don't even know what they have done wrong?
Definitely.
So the only person that is stewing is you, right?
That's right.
While everybody has gone about their business and living happily ever after, and you are the only one that has been affected because you can't move past a particular event.
That's right.
And so we oftentimes destroy ourselves by doing it.
Indeed.
This I think Raquel like this one, refirm to reform.
Right.
Well, let me take away with that one, Raquel.
Well, Andre. I think Andre will do it better than I will. How we interpret events. Shape our emotional response. So
That
tell
is
us a little bit more how
excellent.
what you know
Excellent
about
point.
that one.
Excellent interpretation of that reframe to reform. Because the truth is, we need to recognize and appreciate. Let me use that term, that it is on me. That's right. It is on me to ensure that change takes place rather than find excuses for not changing. It is on
True,
me.
true.
So that's how I'm going to reframe.
Right.
So for change to take place, though, which is the reforming, I have
Yes.
to start to reframe, which means that I have to change my context, my backstory. I have to look at it in a different way. Because if I keep on looking at it the same way, then there's no reforming.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
there has to be a part of me has to say, well, you know something, chances are the person wasn't in their right mind. Chances are the person, chances are the person was upset. Chances are. So you're almost like giving them the benefit of the doubt. But it's not that you're really doing that. It is you making an effort to see it a different way,
Way. Your
so that
perspective.
so that you say you can give yourself an opportunity to behave differently. If you don't
Yeah,
see it a different way, you know, then nobody can tell you nothing.
yeah. I want to add something to what you said, Andre.
Yeah,
Sometimes I don't have all of the information either.
correct.
True.
You see, sometimes we end up in some places and conflict with our spouses based on what we see on the surface. But if you investigate and you get some additional information, you're to find out that your reaction to the particular situation was not based on all of the information that you
Correct.
had.
Excellent.
Right. And so it become and I see this being something very important in marriages where, and it works both ways, that before we react to situations, make sure that we have all of the information,
Yeah,
because it is having the information that will cause us to reframe and to reform.
that's right.
Right.
That's
Because you can't reframe to reform without having information.
Yeah. You know, I like to say it I like to say it sometimes, say it this way sometimes. I said, if you had the experience without a glasses on, put on one. Ah, maybe you can see better. I
I
said,
like that. I
oh,
like
you
that.
see that?
Exactly. Exactly. Especially like me, and my glasses are my eyes, you know. So if I ever
So
if I ever see the experience without my glasses, wow, I'd be
when
in
Yeah,
when,
trouble.
man.
when you put on when
You
you
had
put
the
on the
experience without the
glasses,
glasses, man.
you
You know,
realize
put it
you
on.
realize
And
that
then you
you
go,
have missed.
oh, look at there. I didn't
Yes,
see
yes, yes. When you put on the glasses, you realize that you have missed a whole lot of important information.
you see some
Right?
context that boy you didn't see
That
before.
yeah, exactly. Let me give you an example, Andrea. And this is a real life example. In my teenage years, growing up with my father, my father and I didn't have a very good relationship, and I made certain assumptions based on what I saw and what I didn't understand. When I started the masters in counseling psychology, and I started doing some further research on some situations in the family, I realized that what I thought was happening at the time was not what was happening. I got a totally new perspective of my dad. That, and again, sometimes the things that frame our thought process when we are growing up is, I would call them, our contaminants. Right? Right? And to the point now that when with this new information, I was able to reframe and reform to the point that my dad and I have a very good relationship now,
Excellent.
because I was making certain assumptions as a teenager growing up that I didn't have all of the information.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that is so, I mean, we could have a whole discussion on that, reframing and to reform.
Reform.
Yeah. You know, there is a I won't as against I can't yet. You know.
Yes, yes.
You know, when you get one information, then we can be very black and white. And so
Yeah.
and so I guess I'm saying to our wonderful listeners, no matter what the relationship is, or sometimes, I did say sometimes, because there is a context too, but but but
True.
but some situations,
Yes.
don't look at it so black and white. You know, maybe you can say, rather than say, boy, I won't, chances are you can say, I can't yet. That's when you know
Yeah.
that, you have some kind of, you have reformed, so you move from one state of saying, I won't, know that you get a better context. So even if you still choose not to, you just say, no, I can't
Yeah.
yet. So I'm not
Yeah.
saying that reform necessitates a total switchover. Sometimes it does. It what it should do at minimum is is give you added information so that you can make a, a better judgment.
Yeah. Something that you said, I want to add something to it, Andre, and you can use it in your sessions. When you said that I won't, you know exactly what I thought about. I won't. The end part of I won't is that you're close to closure or solution. I can't yet opens the door to possibilities.
There we go.
Yes,
Excellent.
definitely.
Excellent.
So
Yes.
you can use that in the counseling, all right?
We can all use it. We can all use
Definitely.
it. And but we can, but even outside of counseling, we can use it in our
In
relationship
our
with our husband and
relationships,
wife, with
yes,
our
yes.
children, with our co-workers. It's such an important nugget that you drop there.
Yes,
You know, such an
definitely.
important
Even
nugget.
as we seek to maintain our relationships as husbands, and this is a husband discussion
Discussion.
tonight.
That's why I'm trying to be
Is
quiet, but
right?
I have to jump in now and again.
You know, the door must always be left open for solutions,
That's right.
right? Some of the time we conflict continues in our relationships because we close the doors, and not only do we close them, we lock them with key and padlock. Right? And no, nobody. By the way, you can't get to the other side, and the other person can't come through the door either. So nobody wins, right? I like the discussion. Like the discussion. Share your opinion. Stop trying to defend it. Lord have mercy. This one.
If it, I mean, if you think about it, really, if you think about it, sometimes we spend too much time, or too much of our times, I should say, becoming upset over
Yes.
over an opinion that really does not belong to us.
Say
Wow,
more. Say
wow.
more.
What a paradox.
It's opinion, you know. It's what you think and what you feel and what you believe. All right. But is it the fact? Is it an objective fact? Because if it's an objective fact, we don't need to argue it.
Yeah.
Whether you
No,
believe it
no.
or not, it doesn't change.
But I
The,
want to be right.
you change the
I want
fact.
to
Yes,
be right.
exactly.
My whole reason for this
What's
discourse is that
driving it?
I want to be right.
Yeah.
And unless I am right, nobody's going to have a restful
See,
night. I have
that's
to be
right.
right.
You see, and you know, and so therefore, there goes your again, your
Your
mental
peace.
peace.
That's right. Exactly.
So
Because
so
with
in other words, Andre, you would destroy your peace
And the peace of
and the
others.
peace of others because
You
you
want.
want to be right.
you want to share something that is that really and truly, if you think about it, what makes your opinion better than the other person's opinion? Since it's just an
True.
opinion, for crying out loud, it's an opinion. This is how I feel. So why are you presenting it as it to say it is it's a fact? It's your opinion. It's how you feel about something. I have nothing wrong with that. So we don't have to quarrel about it. And by the way, let me add this.
Yeah.
Since it is if it is your opinion, then who say you have to share it?
Well, that's true. That's true.
It's your opinion. You know, so you can hear somebody share their opinion. Why you feel like you have to come back with your own? You don't have to do that. You just say, well, okay. So you know what I often tend. I remember literally, and they're like, oh, this is on air or whatever. I have to be careful. But
Yes.
I remember I'm in a session, and the person said to me, let me not use the word session. I'm in a conversation, and the person said to me, this is how I feel about you, and they shared, and I said noted, and then and the person said, so you do you that's all you're going to say? I said, well, what you want me to do? Agree or disagree with you? And the person took offense because I asked him if I must agree what them want. Do you want me to agree or disagree with you? What do you want? You know, because why are we going to turn this into a quarrel? You know.
Yeah.
So I said, what do you want me to do? You want me to agree with you? Because for me, even if I agree with you, it still doesn't change whether or not what you state is truth or it is
Yeah,
authentic.
that's true. True.
It's your
Yeah, that's right.
opinion. It's your
Yeah,
opinion.
that's
So
true.
since it's your
That's
opinion,
true.
I can say, okay, I hear you on your opinion. Okay, I hear your opinion. I said, noted. I say, something. Depending on how you look at it, that opinion is quite valid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
But
that's
but
true.
but because you're coming from a particular perspective or point of view, okay, great. Now, somebody
Yes.
can come from a different angle and decide that, hey, I totally disagree. And I said, coming from that angle, you're right also. I'm not. Why are we? Since it's an opinion. No, when it comes to facts, no. Then it doesn't matter what I believe or what I think.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You think I'm going to say I think I'm a man? No, I know I'm a man. I'm not going to say I think I'm short. You know. Let's leave out that one. Let's leave out that opinion. You
Yeah,
understand what I'm saying? You either can state the fact or no. What am I sitting
yeah.
on? I think I'm sitting on a chair. No, well, if you want to think about that, then fine. But the fact is, I am sitting on a chair. So sometimes we get into some unnecessary debates with people, not recognizing that. Look at what we are debating. Opinions, for crying out
Yeah.
loud. So let us not turn them into quarrels, please.
But
So
Andre,
yeah, go
before you
ahead.
go on, Paul. Andre, I mean, very good nuggets that you're dropping there. So what I'm hearing as well is that we have to understand that disagreement. Some men or some husbands might see disagreement as rejection. You know, so as the point that you said, somebody in the conversation they made a point and you said noted, and they were in backing and forth with you about whether or not you should accept it and how you should probably defend it. But how would you help now a husband or an individual in a case where he feels that the disagreement, he's taking the disagreement as a rejection? How would you help to give him some peace or some balance in a situation like that?
Well, for me, the first thing I want him to understand is that what he is trying to share is an opinion. And since it's an opinion, then the person can choose to reject it. The moment he feels entitled, it's a matter or manner of entitlement. If you feel that your opinion must be accepted, it doesn't have to be accepted. The person might be looking at it in a different, in a different angle and different situation. And for them, so what? So what? So what is going to happen? So even no, watch this. Just because I subject or submit myself to your opinion, it don't mean that I accept it.
Yeah, that's true. True,
It don't mean
true.
that I sometimes I might do something just out of peace sake, or I might do something
Okay.
because I cannot afford to manage the consequences. So I'm going to think there. So my boss shout at me, my boss treat me a particular way, he disrespects me. But is him have the handle? Is him have the handle? And I'm on the blade. And losing my job at this point in time is not an option. So I don't agree with him. I'm not going to. So what am I going to do? So sometimes I have to look at the bigger picture. That's all I'm just saying. And what is the
Yeah,
goal
true.
Yes.
that I'm hoping to achieve right here? And
Yeah.
since it's your opinion, I'm just saying, I- that's your opinion. Why am I going to become offended by your opinion? Suppose you
Yeah.
think I'm a dog. It's time for me to start barking. Yeah, if that's all I'm just saying here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
your
That no, that's true. Very
first and
valid point.
foremost is how is recognizing and accepting that listen, it is an opinion. When something is irrefutable and it's a fact, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Then right there, so then we have no choice. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
We
That's
really
true.
don't have a choice. And maybe of such a decisive decision has to be taken. But once it's opinion, why do we find ourselves trying to defend of opinions? And that's exactly what they are, opinions. No, notwithstanding, some opinions might be rooted in facts. True.
Yeah,
But remember, you are still deliberating it as an opinion,
yeah,
which then means that the person also has a choice in accepting or rejecting it.
yes. This one, it goes right into the next one. A person's
Yes,
opinion
does
does
not
not
define
define you.
you.
There you
You
go.
know, what a good segue. What a good segue, Andre.
There you go.
Andre,
Yeah.
this, especially when it comes to marriage and mental health for men, um, we have seen men destroyed by what their wives think of them, right? And sometimes our society and how society treats men it adds to this also, right? And so this whole thing of carrying emotional wounds because of criticism, people questioning our abilities, our leadership,
Oh,
or
yeah, your worth.
our worth, right? And again, it most of the time it is based on opinion, right? People look at where you come from, your social background, and they readily form an opinion about you. You can't be a good husband. You married to somebody, and they will tell you that your wife is too good for you, based on their opinion of you and where you come from.
Right.
And so yeah, so I mean, many husbands struggle mentally with this because they just go through the relationship just feeling unworthy, that they can't measure up. Even when they are trying to do their best, they never measure up because of somebody else's opinion.
I don't know if I have anything else to add to what you just said. Right. But just to say, not even an ad, but just to say, that. So can you imagine if you don't accept this statement? Then that's all I'm saying. That's it. All of what you just stated is what will happen if we don't come to an acknowledgement that a person's opinion of me doesn't identify who I am or what I become.
Yeah,
A
true,
person's
true.
opinion of me doesn't identify. No, one of the and don't get me wrong, I have an idea as to where that comes from. It comes from our childhood.
Yeah, true, true.
Mommy and daddy wants the best from us, wants this and wants that. So obviously we live. A matter of fact, I put it to you, I might be wrong on this one, but I still can go there. I put it to you that in an effort to satisfy mommy and daddy, we deprive ourselves of having self-efficacy and emotional intelligence.
That's true,
In
true,
an
true.
effort. And
So
and, it's,
you
and,
become
and I'm just putting that out
you,
there. I'm not saying
you
I'm
become a people pleaser.
I am just saying, think about it. Now, because when mommy give you the praise and daddy give you the praise, it feel good. And I'm not saying it doesn't have its worth. By every means it does. Notwithstanding, at some stage, we have to move past that and start to recognize your inherent worth and value, and as against them still relying on people to pour into you for you to feel good and better about yourself. At some stage you kind of have to say, hold on a minute, I'm created in the image of God, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, wow, hold on a minute,
Yeah,
that's something special, man. So even if I don't hear the praise and the commendations from others, this is how God not only met me, but this is what God want me to believe about myself. Let
yes,
that propel me to feel good about myself and give me a sense of life and living and purpose. That's all I'm saying.
that's right.
In
True,
Him,
true.
we move and have our beings. That's what the Bible says. In
Yeah,
Him, not in
yeah,
you. So I don't try to live in you to have my being. It says in Him.
yeah.
In
Uh,
Him we live and have our being. Not through you, by the way.
and that's why Andre, we can't maintain healthy relationships by feeding on a diet of validation.
I like how you say
Right?
that.
Yeah, validation is important, but that can't be all of your diet. You're going to lack something.
When I crumble,
Lunch and dinner.
can't be look breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's right. Can't be look.
But I like the point that you made, though, that our first point of reference should actually be, how does God see us?
That's right.
And
That's
we are made in the image and likeness of God. And as far as we are concerned, God's validation must be the one that stands out.
and he already had validated us. He was
Yes.
the one
Yes.
who claimed and stated that we are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Fully made.
Yes.
If you
You
understand what
know,
I'm saying. So,
every
so,
time, every
so can you
time,
imagine God give us sticky. The person who made us has approved us, and
Stamp of
yet we
approval.
are still vexed if somebody disapprove me. Ah, look like a them make you too. Make you two makers, man.
yes, when I was at UWI, I remember in a class that we're doing, one of my lecturers made mention of made in the image and likeness of God, and he used a particular word that is Latin, that is imago Dei, and what it means is stamp of approval. I've never been able to forget that statement when he,
That's
you
right.
know, it said that it literally means that when God created us, as in His image, He placed on us His stamp
Stamp
of
of
approval,
approval.
Wow,
right?
beautiful.
And
Yeah.
if He validates us that way,
There we go.
then who are we not to live validating ourselves and not
Just
to be
saying,
waiting on the validation of others?
walk with, walk upright, man.
Well,
Yes, man.
yes,
That's right.
just imagine
Walk
two people
upright.
just imagine two people in a relationship who understands that they are made in the image and
Thank
likeness
you.
of God.
Thank you. I'm
Yes,
just saying. I'm just saying. I
That's
mean,
right.
yeah, yeah.
there we go.
Powerful.
Well,
Powerful.
yes, man. This is
Powerful point.
this is good stuff.
This is good stuff. And Andre, our next point that it's a wonderful segue we're having here. Don't stew in negativity.
Yes.
You know, because we're the men and we are fearfully and wonderfully made. You know, what's the point in stewing negativity? You know, so negative thoughts are will come, negative opinions will come, but tell us a little more about that, because I know that this is an interesting one for you. Tell us how, as we are talking about husbands navigating their mental health and this element of tuning negativity, how do we counteract that?
Yeah. All right. For me, don't stew in negativity. If all you see is a bad outcome, if all you see is a bad outcome, then how do you plan on giving yourself hope for a different or a better outcome?
Yeah, true, true.
How do you plan? If all you see is something is a bad outcome, and I guess that is the question I am inviting us to ask ourselves so that we don't end up stewing in negativity. Because remember, if all you see is a bad outcome, then what do you plan to do to give yourself hope of a better outcome? What do you plan to do? So do you plan to still talk about the pain and the disappointments that you encountered? And I'm not saying they're not real, but how do you move from that? If every day you get up is the same, your story is the same. Boy,
Doesn't
listen,
change.
person, my wife disappoint me. The children don't respect me. I don't have a job. If all I'm saying, if every day you cook the same soup, you know, so, are the same soup you cook and full of pain negative and all I'm just saying, then really and truly, when you drink it, what do you think is expected to happen?
True, true.
What do you expect when you drink it? You think you can feel
Yeah,
better? No, man. You're going to spew it out.
yeah. Yeah,
I
the,
guess.
the, the truth is, yeah, when that happens, when you stew in negativity, you stop looking for solutions,
You stop looking for
and
solutions.
your pain becomes what define you.
Yeah. You have no hope. How do you reach to a place of hope? When everything you hear, everything that you say, every conversations that you have, is how you have been disappointed and hurt. If
Yeah,
that's all you keep on replaying that, then my question to you, where do you go from here?
yeah,
So
true, true.
suppose you want to stay there, then all right, fine. But if you're going to stay there, you please understand that you say, as far as your own mental equilibrium is concerned, it's going to be shattered. Just
Yeah,
understand that.
that's true.
You're
That's
setting
true.
up yourself for a fall to become depressed, like it leaps and bounds. You're setting up yourself where your mindset and mentality only think one way. Depression,
Yeah.
here I come. That's all I'm just saying. You know,
Yeah.
the sea of depression, I'm not, I was going to say cup of depression, but it's a whole ocean this. Dive- I'm just saying, here I come. Be prepared to drown in depression. Why so? Because the narrative is how bad things are for me and how bad and therefore I become a victim because of these things. And maybe you were unfairly treated. I'm not saying, so you hear me. Maybe rightly so, you were unfairly treated. And as a result of that, you even have a right to complain about the unfair treatment. And I'm not discrediting that. By no means am I discrediting that. But then my next question is, what next?
What? Yeah. What next?
What
That
next?
question is
After
important. What
after
next?
after we have after we met the soup and we drink it and we realize that the soup don't taste good. You going to go make the same soup again tomorrow? You
Yeah.
don't mean yourself no good man.
And you know what this kind of mentality also does, Andre and Raquel. Even when other people are trying to help us, because we're in the stew, make in the same pot of stew. Even the help that is coming our way, we are suspicious of it.
Can I add to that quickly? Like
Yes.
I heard Raquel said something earlier, and I didn't want to make the comment, but now again, go there. It is easier said than done. No. For Andre Allen Casey, it is get it done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. So while I agree that it is easier said than done, oftentimes when we make that statement, we are not giving ourselves hope to get it done.
That's
We
true.
are
True. True.
staying into the stew of disappointment, the stew of negativity. And so hope is not a part of the equation. A matter of fact, we're going to remind ourselves that we should not even take a second chance to come out of this pot here or out of this ocean. Why? Because he who feels it knows it. It is easier
Yes,
said than
sir.
done. But look at but if it is easier said than done, look at where if you don't get it done, look at where you plan to stay.
That's right. True. 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 True.
Exactly. So you have to challenge your mindset.
You have to
You have to challenge your negative mindset.
I am just saying if you don't, if it is easier said than done, and if you don't do something about it, then look at where you're going to stay. You're staying into a place that really and truly it is the ocean of depression.
Yeah,
You're staying
that's
into a
right.
place that is not good for you and it's not good to you. It's not
Yeah,
good
that's
for
true.
you
That's true.
and it's not
I
good
think
to you.
I
So,
think we have time for one more.
okay.
Um, Acknowledge disappointments rather than grow resentments.
Grow in resentments. I,
Disappointments are inevitable. Resentment is optional. I like that. I like that.
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
wow. And let me hurry up because I know that's our time to. So I'm not saying so acknowledge it. For me, if I'm disappointed, call it out. In a sense, me hide and don't think there. If I'm disappointed, how the other person is going to know that what is a better course of action. They won't
Yeah,
know
true,
if
true,
I don't
true.
have the conversation. They cannot know what is a better course of action if I do not have the conversation. I think I need to
Yeah,
write
that's
that
true.
one down.
That's
Right,
right.
right. And so, as a result of that, all I'm just saying here, so acknowledge it. Say, hey, I'm disappointed. I feel hurt by this. I don't have a problem. Great. Know that you have shared it. Because if you don't do that, I'm saying give the other person a chance to not only say, possibly I'm sorry, or to change their course of action. If they choose not to, then you would have relieved yourself by letting them know how you feel
No,
about
yes, that's true. That's true.
it. But you
That's
can't
true.
make it stay inside a young grow. It's a disappointment. It's something that is hurting. Why you want her to stay in you? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't want her to stay in me. I want it to come
No,
out.
sir. No, sir. Want
If,
it to come out.
if
Get it
never
out.
two take, where may I keep it in for?
True.
Why do I want her to stay in me? So I'm saying get it out. Because if it stay, then I'm reminded that I'm hurt every day. If it stay, then I'm reminded that I'm hurt every day. I like that one. If
Yes.
it stay, then I'm reminded that I'm hurt every day. And worse than that, I remember who caused the hurt in the first place,
That's true.
which now leads to resentment.
Isn't
And
a
there,
wonderful
and
thing
there
that the
goes
Bible
my mental equilibrium.
it's a
Exactly.
wonderful thing that the Bible says was put off bitterness and all of these things
That's right.
because these things destroy us internally,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
God's word can't be wrong,
Can
right? So it's put off these things and put on these things. So you must replace. When
That's
you
right.
put off, you replace with things that will make you healthy.
That's right.
Wonderful, Andre, wonderful. Um, well, I tell you, this can't be the second time, or even the last time you come on. We are going to have to invite you back sometime. Very, very wonderful discussion we have had tonight with Andre Allen Casey, our friend and brother in Christ. And, I think that we have learned a whole lot tonight, especially for the men who are on the platform, that we are really in charge of our minds and our own mental health as men will also help to navigate our family lives, better relationships with our children, better relationships with our wives, and with just the people around us at large. And so tonight we have had a very wonderful discussion, right, Raquel?
Excellent. I've enjoyed it a lot, and we just want to remind our listeners, that mental health is not weakness, and seeking growth is not weakness.
That's right, that's right.
We can't always control what happens to us,
Yeah.
but what we
Yes.
can control how we respond to it.
Yes, that's right.
And that's the
That's right.
message. That's the message that we have been hearing from in the discussion, in the conversation, and we want to thank Andre Allen Casey for being here with us, for dropping some wonderful nuggets. He has to write down some of them for himself. And we are indeed happy that you are here with us, Andre. We want to encourage those listeners to continue. If you want to reach out to us, choose growth, choose health, and choose hope. And that's what we want to end for tonight.
Yes.
Choose growth, choose healing, choose hope, and of course, I'll ask Paul as usual to do the wrap up. He does it so well.
Yes, this has been another Level Up Your Marriage with Paul and Raquel Blake. If you want to reach us, you can email us at levelupyourmarriagecoc@gmail.com. That's levelupyourmarriagecoc@gmail.com. Or you can reach us by phone. My number 876-835-6524. That's 876-835-6524. And Raquel's number is 876-421-6722. That's 876-421-6722. Andre, we have had a wonderful time, and we are indeed happy that you took time out of your busy schedule to come and have this discussion with us. And because you have been doing it so well for the last 2 weeks, you know that you'll get another invitation in the near future. And so as we close out tonight, we invite everyone to continue to live and grow, especially in our marriage and relationships, in the presence of God Almighty as we continue to discuss all these different topics on Level Up Your Marriage. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.
They can never take the love out in this place. They can never take the love out in this place.
Living by the Word Radio.
Living by the Word Radio.
Broadcasting faith, truth, and inspiration